Time now for Entre Nous. On the show today, we are pleased to welcome Fanny Schulmann, curator at the Paris Museum of Modern Art, which is currently featuring the largest retrospective devoted to Lee Miller in France in 20 years. The exhibition, which is currently underway, runs through the 2nd of August. Now, during the course of her life, Miller went from model to surrealist, artist, fashion photographer, and World War II correspondent. Fanny, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. Now, this exhibition really represents Miller as more than a muse. How did you structure the show to shift that perception towards her as a major artist?
Yes, this was the whole goal of this exhibition, to show really her art, to focus on her photographies. Indeed, she had a very eventful life, full of shifts and surprises. But here we really wanted to show her as one of the greatest photographers of the 20th century. So we structured the show really very chronologically, really to follow her through her life and to show how each moment, each step of her life has brought her sensibility that she will bring with her in the next step, and that shows in her photographies, like the influence of surrealism in her war photography couldn't have happened otherwise.
But so you are seeing a consistent vision, or do you see some sort of reinvention happening as well?
She, of course, is reinventing herself, but she too often has been seen in a very fractured way. And here we wanted to show the articulation between each moment of her life. And to see how she comes with more sensitivity and more another look on what she sees, thanks to what she did before. And for instance, what she did in Paris with Man Ray will have a major influence on her fashion photographies in Vogue or of her photographies of the Blitz in London during the war.
She's someone who clearly didn't want to be confined into any one thing.
Indeed.
And that's reflective in her work.
Yes, because each time she felt confined to a certain role, she immediately wanted to get away with it and to not to be typecasted. So this is very important in her life, in her personality, and also in her art. She will take that freedom always with her.
Let's talk about this picture which we're showing right now to our viewers on the screen. Talk us through what exactly is going on in this bathtub.
Oh, this is certainly one of the most famous photographies of Lee Miller. And here we are on May 1st, 1945. She's in Munich. She has just arrived in Munich. A day before, she was in Dachau concentration camp, and she was horrified by what she saw there. And when she arrived in Munich, she heard that Hitler's apartment was occupied by the GIs. So she went there, and when she entered the apartment, she immediately saw the profanation of it, because it was really the end of Nazism. She didn't know at that time that Hitler had just committed suicide, and she had this idea of taking a bath also because, you know, as following the GIs, she needed to take a bath. It was very difficult to have a good hygiene at that time. And she completely sets the photograph, you know, putting her boots, her dirty boots, on the towel, putting a photograph of Hitler next to the bathtub, and as a model, you know, she stages herself as a model, but within a completely political stage, and really it has become now one of the most famous photographs of the end of Nazism.
What do you make of her blending art and journalism?
Well, that's why I think she has become one of the most interesting war reporters during the Second World War. She doesn't come with an idea of documenting what she's seeing. She comes with an idea of also bringing her own sensibility in those scenes that she crosses, and she brings her anger, her poetic eye, her humor with her, and that allows her photography to be extremely powerful and still very relevant artistically today.
And her work clearly is still very relevant today, isn't it?
Absolutely. She's now regarded as one of the famous women photographer,
Yeah.
and I think she has inspired many women photographers to pursue this art and also this passion with war reporting.
And what can viewers who, people who come to visit the exhibition who don't know about Lee Miller, what do you think they will be taking away from what you're showing?
Well, from what I can see in the visitors today that are visiting the show, it really depends on their own sensitivity because, in the show you can see fashion photography, still life, portraits, so many different kinds of photography. And I think each people can go with its own idea on Lee Miller and its own judgment on what she did, and that's why her art is still extremely fascinating today.
Fanny, thank you so much for coming in and
Thank
speaking
you.
to us here on France 24. Fanny Schulmann, and the exhibition runs till the 2nd of August. So
Absolutely.
do check it out if you are here in Paris. And you can check out other editions of our Entre Nous on our website, france24.com.